Great. Hello, hello. Okay. Just give folks a couple minutes to jump in. Let's pull up this other deck list. Settings there. All right. Hello, hello, everyone. We're going to be playing some more Marlin today. The one thing I wanted to try with this Marlin list is we're basically going to be cutting Big Game Trophy Shot, which is a card that I'm a pretty big fan of. Basically, we're going to be trying out the Lone Shark, kind of like laced with Blood Rots, kind of in the place of that, which I think some people have had a bit of success with. And then this is also going to be, oh, actually, this isn't even the right list. This is the list I based it off of. So this is actually Jacob Kissel's list, but the list that I want to try today is largely kind of the same as that list, I think. I think it's basically like a pretty much exact copy. I think the only difference is we're not going to be running Battering Bolt, which I think is just a card I'm not like the biggest fan of in general. I don't know. If this was a Harpoon, it'd be so much better, but as it is, I don't know. I'm not a super big fan of this card. All right, hey everyone, welcome in. Okay, it's like Tegan was testing something. All right, let's do our little deck tech for today. So the list I want to try to play today is a list that's not going to be running Big Game Trophy Shot. Instead, we're going to be running Lone Sharks and basically kind of like the Lace with Blood Rots also kind of feel like a similar kind of spot to where Big Game Trophy Shot is. But generally, like I think there's kind of like two main ways at least I've seen that you can kind of like build. There's actually like a lot of ways you can build Marlin, but like the two most viable ways I think are like the Lone Shark and the Big Game Trophy Shot, and then just setting like a huge Harpoon. This list is going to be trying the Lone Sharks basically instead of the Big Game Trophy Shot. So what we're going to be trying is basically like these two cards instead of the Big Game Trophy Shots. And then this list is largely inspired by Jacob Kissel's list. The only card that I cut out of his list is just Battering Bolt, which I think is like a fine card. I'm just not. I don't know. I've like tried this out before in Marlin. I've just like never been a fan of this card. So instead, we're basically running like I think we're running. Oh, whoops. Hold on a second. I think we're running basically extra Tar Pit Trap, and then I think extra Tar Pit Trap, extra Point of AB, and then I think maybe like an extra blue or something. I forget exactly what we're running over that, but yeah, that's kind of like the core idea at least. I think we're actually running extra blue. Yeah, I think we're running 31 blues. So we're gonna give it a try. This list is also a bit more red line, I guess, than like the list that I normally run. What do you think is missing from Marlin being a top tier deck at the moment? So I think Marlin has a couple main problems. Like the first problem is that uh, mainly overpower is bad. That's like the long short of it. The like the basically like her problem is that D reacts at the moment are very very good. Overpower is very very bad against D reacts and just decks that run attack reacts in general. Like I think like her core problem is just overpower. I think like if you gave her something that like gave her like dominate, then she'd have something that's like a little bit better. But I think that's like one of the core problems at the moment. If like aside from okay, let's say if there's like anything else like aside from overpower, Valda is going to be a huge problem, especially with like Master Pack Guardian. I think that matchup seems really bad, at least on paper. I haven't played it a ton though. We'll see if we can maybe try to find some Valdas in the wild today. But I think like those are our main problems. And then like also you don't really have a way to like punish people for like running a bunch of like reacts or like you're basically your punish is like battering bolt, and battering bolt is like a terrible way to punish like D reacts or just like any attack reacts in general, because like they can just block with them anyways, right? You're basically kind of just like turning this into like a pseudo time walk, which is fine, but not necessarily what you like always want to be doing in Marlin, I think. But yeah, I think those are what kind of is keeping her from being like a top tier deck. Is just like her evasion's very poor and her numbers are also kind of whatever. I think her like gold generation is actually surprisingly good. Like I don't think gold is her problem. She has like a lot of different ways to make gold, but like she has a lot of ways to make gold naturally. You also don't need to use gold a lot of the time. Like you if you just like I don't know, like send a 3 card like harpoon, right? Like that's like a fine game state to be in. Like you don't have to always like sit on a pile of gold. I think like also the equipment suites like kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. Like if you had a better headpiece than like Crown of Dominion or like a better quiver, I think those are both kind of go a long way to helping. All right, hey everyone, welcome in. So all right, let's go into like the deck tech for today. So this Lone Shark Boy, which is a movie I think I watched when I was like 7. Um, but anyways, this is going to be largely inspired by Jacob Kissel's list, and I think that his main list or his list has like a couple ideas that I think are really interesting. So the first big idea is we're cutting Big Game Trophy Shot, which I'm a big fan of Big Game Trophy Shot just as a card. Like I think the card is very cool, but it also is very clunky, right? Because if you don't have like the prerequisite gold to like activate it, then it gets really awkward. If you can't make like a Goldfin Harpoon in hand, it gets really awkward. So what we're basically doing instead is we're running like Lace with Blood Rot, which is basically kind of like a 0 for 5, and also Loan Shark to kind of fuel a little bit of that gold generation. So I think that's what we're going to basically be testing today, is whether or not these cards can basically replace Big Game Trophy Shot, which I think like this is a very viable way to like build the deck. Like I think that Big Game Trophy Shot can be a very clunky card in some matchups, especially like faster matchups where like I normally cut Big Game Trophy Shot into those matchups where you just want to like race, but Big Game Trophy Shot I think really shines in a lot of like the longer like mid range matchups, at least for me. Like where you're able to get a couple gold over the course of the game, and then eventually you just like Big Game Trophy Shot is like a 0 for 4 is really powerful. But yeah, so we're gonna basically be just testing that out today. And then sorry, this is I need to like close this. So this is Jacob Kissel's list that we're looking at, but again, this is my list. We're basically just cutting the battering bolts for some extra like sideboard cards. Not too much different. I basically like entirely modeled this list after that list, and I think we're just running like an extra blue. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the games now. I think like let's try to playtest this. Like I've also heard some people going up to like 3 Lone Shark. I don't know if that's too much or too little, but the extra gold generation does seem quite interesting to me. All right, let's load up a game here. Lace with Blood Rot, I think, is a card that I've tried to fit into my list. I think if I were to get rid of some big game trophy shots, I think that's like a pretty decent inclusion. Just being like a 0 for 5 is just very, very powerful. I don't think it's like stronger than like Take Aim and Premeditate though. It's the only issue with like Lace is like you get a 0 for 5, but like these cards are often like better than 0 for 5s. Like Take Aim is I think one of like this card is probably like the most powerful buff in the deck, and like Premed is like a close second, I think. But like having the ability to just get free load is very, very powerful. Oh, and these sideboards are going to be like very out of date, so we'll try our best with those, but they might not be very helpful. Let me make sure I'm not on single player. Oh, this is private. See, seemed like it was taking a long time to get a game. Posture Q is apparently being very slow today. Let me extra make sure that this is not private. Oh, we just got a game. Hold on. Oh crap. I think I just left as the game was starting. Alright, hold on. I kind of want to try open CC. We'll try like a little bit later today. Let's assume that Mastery Pack Guardian doesn't exist. Okay, this is a little jank. Bear with me. Let's just play against the Syndra. Okay, apparently we can't play against Syndra either. Should we play against Daria? Let's try to play against Daria. Alright, do we want to go first or second Ira? I think in general, I pretty much always want to go first. Alright, give him a good look, have fun. And then, do we want Dominion or Skullbone into Ira? For what it's worth, I think that the other list is not running, like Skullbone at all. So maybe let's try Dominion just for this first match. Let's bring in the Tipples. I think both these harpoons are pretty okay into Ira. I do also like Tar Pit Traps quite a bit. Kind of like the Tar Pit Traps maybe over Lace. Does that make sense? I feel like that could be good. This might not be correct. Let's try this out, see how it goes. Alright, starting off. What do we want to do? Option 1 here is we get to filter. Option 2 is we can go for like an aggro harpoon at them. That would rely on us drawing into at least a blue or a yellow to at least overpower it. Even then, it might not be worth it. I feel like we're just supposed to filter and pass. Like maybe just get rid of King Kraken and Seafloor Salvage here. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and just hold on to King Shark. I think King Kraken is not entirely necessary in this matchup. So I think we're probably just gonna go ahead and Arsenal King Shark. I do think there is a line where we try to go for just the gold, reload, and then if we draw a blue, we're in good shape. But if we draw a red, we're basically like losing on the spot. Kind of feels like. I think that play is interesting because often with Dominion, I feel like I want to use it a lot going second. But if I'm going first, I normally am on Skullbone. So maybe there was some world where we try to risk that, but I don't know. Not super compelling. Alright, Whirling Mist Blossom coming in. So they're not an Okana. What does that mean? Are we going to give this 6 block? I really don't want to, but it might be correct. So, like, what is the card that they have here? It's either Razor Reflex or Ancestral Empowerment. I guess if they have Reflex, though, do we care? I feel like the correct block is just block 3, and then assume that they don't have anything. I'm going to assume that they don't have anything. Like, the cards that blow us out here are Empowerment and Razor Reflex, which I think are unlikely. It seems like we actually got rewarded for that. Alright, another Kodachi is fine. So worst case scenario, we're ending on like a CNC here. Oh no, not terrible though. Okay, pain in the backside, I don't think we care. I think we're just going to try to keep this hand, or I think we're just going to try to send a King Shark Arsenal Tipple for next turn, and then we're going to have Tunic Tipple. I think that's the line I see at least. We could also block 3 on 3, but I don't think that's worth it, because then we'll go off resources for King Shark. So surprisingly, I think we actually block this turn somewhat well. Assuming that they don't have like a follow-up here. Which I think is unlikely. We are also playing around Warmongers for what it's worth. I guess not really playing around, but we're at least safe from Warmongers. How does Marlynn fare against aggro? I think she is actually like pretty alright into aggro. Like I think if you're wanting to play Marlynn, that's like maybe what you're trying to target is just like aggro decks. The problem is like your disruption is so inconsistent. It's like Like if you hit like a Syndra with like a King Shark, right, that's obviously really good. But if you hit him with like a Bluefin Harpoon, you're obviously in a lot worse shape. The only thing I'm debating here is whether or not I want a gold baited hook. We could also just play the tipple. I don't think hook is correct. I think we're just gonna send in the King Shark, I think. This does look more like Boomer Ira, which means they're on a decent number more Diriacs, presumably. But yeah, I think Marlin does like pretty okay, at least in like Slippy, Syndra. What other aggro decks are there? Katsu, you're probably fine into. Katsu's weird though, because like you can kind of just blow up out of nowhere. But I think like most of your harpoons are alive against Katsu, or at least King Shark is. I don't think King Kraken is, but it's probably has some at least percent chance to whip to hit at least. All right, blocking with the looking for scrap. I'm assuming at least one D-react here. All right, double flip clack. That is not unexpected. So I'm glad we didn't go for the gold baited hook there. So I'm at least glad we got like 3 cards out of them. I think that's probably a pretty decent exchange for us. But the flick flacks are obviously a little bit concerning. I mean, I think most Boomer Iras are on some number of flick flack. Okay, so here's the question. Are we gonna play Tar Pit Trap on this Kodachi just to stuff a CNC? I feel like the value on that is quite low, especially when we have a tipple in hand. So I feel like we're probably just supposed to take this, and if they have CNC, then good beats, right? Humble. Oh, Humble is actually really annoying. So against Humble, what do we do? Because that turns off our reload, which is a problem. Oh, that's actually really bad. Yeah, it's not ideal. So we can block 7 on this. I guess we can block with like King Shark, but then we're like fishing off the top for something. That's pretty rough. I think this is the play. Like we just have to like give up Tar Pit Trap on this, and then hope to draw into one of our power cards, like either a Codex or something better. Yeah, I almost wonder if the Tar Pit Trap on the Kodachi for 1 might have been worth it. I think this still kind of is pretty much the same, but definitely a bit awkward. Problem is, like, if we block like this, then we can't really load anyways, is the issue. So let's start with the tipple, though. I think we are still pitching the Elephant Harpoon. And just trying to find, like, a random crappy arrow to shoot. Yeah, I think this works out. Oh, I should have put the, if we know we're not drawing into the King Shark, I should have definitely gold baited there first. That's my bad. But I guess it kind of works out well here anyways. Like, we didn't know we were drawing in this King Shark. So we would have gotten punished on like 90% of draws for not doing that first. But this particular draw, we actually did get rewarded for doing that, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I definitely should have just gold baited hook first. This King Shark might not hit anything, but it is at least threatening a gold on hit, which is nice. Ooh, Wreak Havoc. All right, we don't really care about that because that only targets Diriacs, which is nice. So yeah, I think the correct play was definitely to just like activate the gold bait hook first. I guess they did have to block this, so I don't know. I guess it kind of works out for us well anyways. Oh, we found our loan shark. All right, CNC number 2 is going to be rough. This is like full-on Boomer Ira. This is like 2 for 6 the deck, basically, right? I think we're probably actually not favored against this version. I have a pretty good feeling that we're going to be losing our tipple here. I think if they're on like the more aggro like Okana Ira, then we are a little bit more favored. But this deck is basically just like a warrior for most intents and purposes, like just block 4, send CNC. Okay, so a couple options here actually. So I feel like the best option might just be to block 6 on this, and then we can tipple. We'd have to draw into something. I've also seen all of our King Sharks. That's kind of unfortunate. I guess we still have Codexes though. So what's the play here? We block. I think we block here between the Lone Shark and King Kraken. Opponent's also changing playmats very often. Let's go ahead and block here and here, and then I think we're just going to try to tipple and then 3 Oak on the back of it. Kind of makes sense. All right, first CNC down. It's kind of interesting because since they daggered second, their CNC was like less good. All right, start with the tipple, I think. Yeah, the playmat decisiveness is all right. We'll start with the Marlynn. But yeah, I think we're discarding this with tipple, re-oaking, and then just kind of YOLOing. So we should actually start. We should start with the gold baited hook, right? It takes the card out of their hand, and then we get to potentially they'll have like less cards for blocking an arrow, which I think is worth it. So we'll start with a tipple. We find a king shark or a king kraken, which is fantastic. So I don't think we have to load that now because that gives them more information. I think we can wait and then load off the 3 Oak. And then maybe we find like a better harpoon. Lots of options. All right, so we get the gold block there. That's fine. And then gonna go for the 3 Oak. Unfortunately, we don't have the buff plus 3 Oak hand. That's kind of like the ideal scenario. So we now close chain, play that out. Okay, double buff, a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. And then I think we're pulling Tunic just so we get the chance to arsenal another 3 Oak. Is that the plan? I think that's the plan. We're also, like, I think overdue for some of our buffs. Like, I feel like we've just been drawing, like, all arrows, no buffs. So I think the play is going to be Arsenal 3 Oak. And then just send King Kraken. We definitely want the pre-med. I think we can bottom the blue on the assumption that we're probably going to draw into another blue. And then we'll just fire this in for 10. Unfortunately, we don't get the on hit here. But that's fine. We drew the King Kraken off the tipple, so I think it's still best practice to try to put the gold beta hook on the tipple. But can't complain about another 3 Oak. Yeah, I feel like this draw's been weird. We just like have not seen any of our buffs, but I guess it's like actually been fine because they've just been hitting us with like back-to-back 2 for 7 basically, or 2 for 6. All right, let's take a look at that hand. So we have a cut through, pain in the backside, and a recoil. All right, so we don't care about this. The only thing that they're going to be threatening next turn is just a mass trigger. So I think we actually should be fine here. So put that on the bottom. We're not getting disrupted next turn, which is really good. We can just block with like a Sunken Treasure to turn over like a Tar Pit Trap or a Whirling Mist Blossom or something like that. So we let this hit. And then what are we trying to block this turn? We're trying to probably block the pain in the backside. Could also give up Tunic here. So the other last card is a Cut Through, which is also 0 for 4. So at some point we're going to have to block a 0 for 4 this turn anyways. So maybe the better 0 for 4 to block here is the pain in the backside. There's also like merit against Ira to just like saying you don't have anything and then just trying to say like no blocks, and if they draw like a random blue 1 cost then we're fine. But I think we should probably just give up Tunic. Like it's pretty unlikely that we're going to get more Tunic counter. Like maybe we're getting 1 more Tunic counter, but I think the block here is actually pretty relevant. So we'll turn over the Whirling Mist Blossom, get our gold generation going. Overall, I think we're in a pretty good spot. I think I would like to see another buff in my hand, ideally. Like the double blue is maybe not necessarily the best case scenario. But all in all, it's kind of okay, I think. We're denying the mass trigger. We know their last card is just to cut through. Yep, so this is fine. Opponents also are off an arsenal, which I think is a pretty big deal for us. So unfortunate thing is we've used a lot of our harpoons. I think we also bottomed a King Kraken harpoon. So I feel like the harpoons we're drawing are going to be blue from now on, basically. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use a Codex off this hand. So I guess between these two, which one are we trying to hold on to? Probably the Bolton Shot, right? Just in case we like whiff off the 3-oak. I think that makes sense. And we're hoping to just hit like a random blue harpoon, just so we can like send in for 11. All right, no blue harpoon. We did hit a sleep dart though. Good Bolton Shot, and that would threaten a reload. I kind of feel like that's worth it, right? We pump here, bump with the port side exchange, Bolton Shot, send in for 9, go again, and then we threaten the reload on the sleep dart and the arsenal to take aim. Kind of like that play. Unfortunately, we're not able to threaten the gold bait hook this turn, but that's fine. Like 9 overpower is pretty hard to block, and then if they do block, we're probably kind of happy with that. If we get the reload, then we send Sleep Dart, which is really nice. All in all, I'd say a pretty good turn, and we have kept our opponent off an arsenal, which is also a pretty big deal. We are quickly running low on armor. I do think that they're at a pretty decent life advantage. All right, so we get both the triggers. That's fantastic. Fortunately, we can't play the take aim here, but that's okay. Oh, if we could play the take aim, that would be pretty high value. I guess we might as well just give it a go again, right? There's no point not. Maybe they think we have something that we can play out of our hand or whatever. I guess theoretically there's a world where you can like send a like a goldfin harpoon at them or something. Make them think, at least. All right, sensor out of the way is nice. All right, I think we're just gonna close chain arsenal. So I think if we find a better arsenal than the take game, I don't think portside is better. If we did find like a better buff, I think I'd rather arsenal the buff as opposed to the take game. Couldn't you reload the take aim and then use that to reload the sleep dart? So the problem with Marlynn's, I think. Oh shit, you're right. This is reload. That's a better play. Okay, yeah. So I was thinking that the Marlynn reload was, or that was off of Marlynn reload. So yes, we definitely could have reloaded the take aim, and then use the take aim to load the sleep dart and then send that in for 6. Yeah, that would have been a lot better of a play. I think I was thinking that the Bolton Shot reload was just like a Marlynn reload. I feel like I'm not used to playing with Bolton Shot. Oh yeah, that would have been a much better play, and then we just get a random like port side exchange in Arsenal. Yeah, that's definitely better. All right. We don't have the punt jar, unfortunately, because we're playing Marlynn, but I would definitely count that towards at least 1 or 2 of the punts this game. True. Yeah. All right, Wreak Havoc. Fortunately, our opponent's playing Wreak Havoc, which is maybe pretty good for us. So in that case, what are we doing? We could. I feel like the play I see. So we're obviously going to be just like taking this, and if they get a random arsenal, I don't think we care. Like alternative plays, we block 6, and then we're not doing very much. So I think we're just going to take this and then just try to send a fat arrow back at them. And we don't have a D-React on Arsenal, so this is going to destroy Arsenal, which is fantastic. I think we're just going to bank on them trying, hopefully drawing like one of their crappier blues from their deck, and then maybe they don't even keep an Arsenal. So I think we're starting actually on the port side exchange, just so we get a little bit of gold generation going. Because we already have enough blues, right? So I think I actually like that first. And then we try to like double buff on like maybe the Elephant Harpoon or something. There is like a risk that we don't draw into enough resources to cast everything. But I think that's still fine because we could potentially even send like a Goldfin, right? So I think the play I see here is we start with Marlynn. Or actually, we can't send a Goldfin if we do that, right? So I think the actual play I see here is we just YOLO for the blue. And if we don't draw blue, we can still potentially like use gold to tip as like pitch or something. But I think I like going for a little bit of a risky play here. Because I do feel like if we don't do something powerful, they might just kind of outvalue us. So, okay, so what are we doing here? So, yellow is obviously a little bit of an unfortunate draw. I think we're probably just going to be trying to go for the double buff, so I feel like we should try to cycle this Tar Pit Trap for another blue. So what's our like red-blue count at this point? We have like 30-something blues in the deck. We pitch a decent number. We have 4 and 5 in the graveyard. It's probably at least 50-50, right? Let's go for... I think I'm going to try to cycle the Tar Pit Trap for another blue. All right, another Tar Pit Trap is a little unfortunate. Are we cycling one more time, or are we just going to let it go? Maybe we're supposed to just like load Sleep Dart at this point and then Arsenal like Tar Pit Trap. It's so unfortunate. I really want to send this off, especially because we're like threatening the gold on hit with the gold baited hook. I'm gonna go down to 1 gold. I think I want to try to go for the higher value line. Okay, we draw a red. Unfortunate. All right, the double Tar Pit draw, a little bit unfortunate there, but not the end of the world. So we can do this. We take aim, load Sleep Dart? Is that what we're loading? This is kind of scuffed. We can go against this. That doesn't help us. I guess we could just like pitch the gold tip here, put a pre-med on it. Is that the best line? I think so. Not very exciting though. I think we need to find our codexes sooner rather than later. I think we also maybe got a little bit greedy off the gold. We did get punished twice. Like, how many yellows are actually in this deck? Running... I guess, like, Codex is technically a whiff. I feel like we had a decent number of, like, pretty good hits there, but maybe not. I've not necessarily been keeping track. Yeah, Tar Pit Trap, a little unfortunate there, but not the end of the world. So I think that one turn, if we're able to take aim and then send the sleep dart for 6, oh, that would give us so much tempo, right? Because then we get the random Ponder Arsenal. All right, so we're covering 4 on this currently. Let's hope they didn't also draw into something nuts in Arsenal. All right, we do get the sleep dart off though, which is nice. Going down to no gold is like very unfortunate though. Okay, we found our codex, which is nice. So hopefully we can maybe just keep 2-card codex. In ideal world. All right, pitching a dual threat. I also like to see. Yeah, this is good. I think CNC is the card we're probably most scared of. Even bigger than that's maybe also a little bit bad for us. Lace with Realty is interesting. I think it's definitely a card you could play. It's kind of just like a... I think it's like a lower, but like it's kind of like who are you targeting with that card is kind of the question. So like Ninja and Assassin, right? Like I think against like if you're seeing like a lot of Boomer IRO, which I don't think this card deck is necessarily like a top meta deck or anything, then I think that's like pretty reasonable. I just don't think it like I think the problem with Lace with Frailty in particular is that a lot of your other laces are maybe higher value against some decks. Like I think like Lace with Blood Rot's really good. Take Aim is really good. Pre-med's really good. Like it's kind of just like finding the space for that is the biggest issue. All right, coming in for 6. I think we're just gonna take this and then maybe block 2 on something later that they do. But if they draw into like a really disgusting card off the top here, we might just lose this. I think we're gonna at this point pretend that Mask Momentum isn't real and can't hurt us. But I think I think the Lace with Frailty is like an interesting card. It's more so just like, what do you cut to find the room for that card? I think that's maybe like the bigger question. All right, Rolling Mist Blossom is actually kind of a fine thing to end on for us. Can't buff this, so we just block. Oh, this is actually fantastic for us. This is like the best case scenario, right? We just block 2 with Codex of Frailty, and then we just get a 13 damage arrow with an arsenal. The problem with Codex is they get back a CNC, but we actually have the nice block with a 3 block plus Sea Lace, so maybe that's actually fine for us. A little unfortunate that we drew both Codexes at the same time. But yeah, I think them sending 2 damage off pitching a red is probably like best case scenario for us. I think we're still in this game. For what it's worth, I think this matchup probably not exactly what you're looking for as Marlynn, but all in all, I don't think we're actually in that bad a shape. So we Harpoon, we'll get back King Shark. So one thing they could do is they could keep a blue and then they CNC and then they're coming in for 1 and then 6, which would be kind of annoying. In that case, then our Sea Lace Sarong block isn't as good. So I'm assuming they're getting a CNC here, which it looks like they are. We're basically guaranteed to hit with this King Shark, though. Like, almost certainly guaranteed. And I think that if they have to give us, like, 3 cards to block this, then, like, we're in pretty good shape. And then, like, they also lose, like, Mom as well. If we can, like, snipe a blue attack out of their hand, then it might also leave them with, like, 2 reds in hand, which would also be, like, a pretty good case scenario. But yeah, Lace with Frailty is one I've thought about. Specifically like into the Slippy meta that we're kind of in. Like I think that is probably a reasonable thing to test out. I think it's just like hard to find space for it. I think that's at least my initial impression of it. This is a good block for us though. If we can like also get a blue out of them here, I think that's a pretty big deal. All right, Flick Flack, obviously a little annoying. All right, if the last card is like a Warmongers, then we might be in danger. Oh, that's so unfortunate I called that. Okay. Not the end of the world, though. So we still get our gold, which is at least nice. We're maybe just losing out on, like, a drill shot. I think this is actually kind of okay for us. We're going to need a little bit of luck off this 3-oak, I think. Oh, they're just going to go for the Warmongers. Oh, that's kind of bad. Is that bad for us? That might be bad for us. So we can... Problem is we can't activate gold. And we can't activate Sea Lace also, so we're basically just sending 6 here. Yeah, a little unfortunate for us. That's fine, though. Or no, can we activate? Oh, it's an instant. Okay, we can't activate that. So in that case... So the question... All right. There's two lines I see, right? We can either try to go for the YOLO off the top with the quiver, into drill shot, go again, load hammerhead, and maybe that's the only way we can win. The alternate play is that we just send 6, in which case we're probably losing because they just CNC us next turn and then we die. I think we need to go for the higher upside play. I think if we just pump 6 on the drill shot, we're just playing not to lose as opposed to playing to win. So I think we need to get a little lucky here. Because if we hit like a random blue fin or like a red fin or yellow hit, like one of our random blue harpoons off the top, that might actually be like a path to victory. Whereas if we just send 6 here, that's all we can do, and then they have a 5-card hand. So I think we gotta get a little lucky here. And we only have 1 shot at it. So I feel like the odds of this working are actually incredibly low. Alright, Tipple off the top. I think that's probably game. Yeah, nothing we can do. So like we could send 6 here, but we're losing that game anyways. This is assuming that they have like any go again in hand, which is like fairly likely. So yeah, a little unfortunate the last card was a Warmongers there. Them also playing the Warmongers was like so much better than playing CNC. Yeah, even bigger than that almost assuredly kills us, I think. That's fine. I think that this particular style of deck is like, I think it's winnable. I think we probably made a couple pretty decent sized mistakes this game. But yeah, Sensor with Gogan is probably going to kill us. All right, 6 goes. We do have to block. I think we're just going to block. Yeah, I guess we do just block 6 on this, but follow-up is definitely going to kill us. What is our out this game? I don't think there is an out from this point. I think the out that game might have been the take game turn. Let's see what the follow-up is. Bittering Thorns. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. So I think here we just need to block 4, and then they're going to hit us with the CNC. So yeah, I actually don't think there was any way we can win from this position because we know what their arsenal is, right? Yeah, pretty rough. All right, they played very well though. Give them a good game. So I think that game we had a couple opportunities to do a little bit. Let's take a look at their deck. I'm kind of curious. So we had 2 Warmongers, we had Whirling Mist Blossoms, Dual Threats. Yeah, so this is just like a very boomer IRA. So how many TRX are we on? We're on just the Flex and the Sinks. I think we could have beaten this deck. I think that was maybe a pilot error on that game. I do think we had some below average RNG, specifically on that Tar Pit Trap turn. If we're able to keep like anything better than those, I think that gets a little bit better. All in all, I think there are some things we could definitely improve that game. Let's see if we can get another one though. Do I want to try this deck in Valda? I've heard this matchup is like actually cursed. I'm kind of curious though. Should we try it? Let's try it. All right, do we want to go first or second into Valda? Probably first. I feel like we go first in Skullbone. And then what do we want into Valda? Probably the King Sharks. I don't know how many non-attacks this deck runs. Probably a decent number. I know a lot of the new Crush cards are pretty decent. Maybe just run it as a Harpoon anyways, just so that we can try to get around a little bit of the overpower. It's probably better than Remorseless, right? I feel like maybe we just run it like this with Skullbone since we're starting. Because we don't really want to draw anyways. Alright, interesting opening hand. So you have the Testament of Valhai's new card. She makes a Seismic Surge every time you draw a card. So I think what we're doing here is we're just like filtering some of these buffs. And Drill Shot. And then just arsenaling the take game. I think that's the best play. So we probably wanted to redraw into the buffs first. If we kept some of the buffs, then obviously with 3 Oak, the buffs are quite good. But we also don't really have an arrow yet, so maybe that's fine. Yeah, playing a 3 Oak into Valda is pretty bad. But I think you still like kind of have to play it. Yeah, I think this is like actually why this matchup is cursed, is we just give them like infinite seismic surges. But like, I don't think you can just like not play this card, right? Alright, when centers create 3 seismic surge tokens at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, you may put X stars. Okay, so they're gonna get like a million ways to filter that here or something. Beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and you put X cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck, where X is the number of seismic surge. Okay, so they can basically just like filter their entire hand. Yeah, it's the same with Blood Rush. Like, you just have to play it. Like, you don't really have like an option to like hold back because like this is your power card, right? I do think so. We do have the option to just block with the Sunken Treasure here. Is that worth it? So, I mean, we're drawing a ton of resource off 3 Oak. I think you probably should just cash in the value here. Just cash in the 3 block value. Like, there's a world where we draw a bunch of reds and then we get punished for that, but I think that on the average scenario, you're probably fine blocking a little bit there. All right, so they're basically going to be able to filter their entire hand next turn, which is fine. We get to Skullbone, though, which is pretty good. So let's see, we drew Portside Exchange is probably not going to be doing it for us. I think we do want a Loan Shark. Loan Shark with 3 Oak is actually pretty good because if you just have an extra card that you want to discard, then that's pretty alright. So let's start with the Loan Shark here. Card I've not been a fan of, but let's see if it's good here. So we 3 oak now, and then we can take aim anything off of this. Oh, we got punished for the block? No, not like this. Okay. Unfortunate. So if we drew like any blue here, then our play makes sense, but unfortunately we didn't. So in that case, I guess we're just sending in the King Shark, which at least has the on hit still. Yeah, if we drew any blue there, I think this hand actually works. Yeah, bad luck, but we'll shake it off. So we do at least get to gold bait hook first, and then we can just send in the King Shark, and we just have like a pre-med or a lace with blood. Or we could also just we can't discard because the loan shark notably doesn't trigger the turn you play it. Unfortunately, like if we did have the opportunity to discard a loan shark, then we could discard this lace. So yeah, I guess 3 oak plus loan shark is not necessarily a great combo. They also get to use their testament here, which is pretty nice, but they do have to give us like one more thing. I'm kind of fine with this. Like obviously this card is just going to mess us up pretty bad, but like not much we can do about that. Yeah, Marlynn giveth and Marlynn taketh away. So I guess we'd rather have pre-med in Arsenal. I don't think it matters very much. Oh boy, are we gonna have to hold priority on every seismic surge? That would be funny. All right, how badly are we gonna get pulverized here? Oh, Macho's not terrible. If this is even a pummeled Macho, I think we're fine here. This is not the end of the world. If it's pummeled, then good beats, I guess, but all in all, I'm kind of okay with that. Alright, so now we start with our Skullbone. Eye is fantastic. Okay, so now we actually get to do some cool stuff here. So we start with pre-med. Then we Marlynn Portside Exchange. We're drawing into a blue. We load one of our red fins, and we also get to slap a lace with blood out on it. So I guess we play... I guess the lace doesn't matter. We already know what we're drawing into. Yeah, this is actually a fantastic hand. So we start doing this. So I guess the question is, do we want to send the blue fin or the red fin? That's the real question off this hand. Is like, do we care about the blue or the resin hand? I kind of almost feel like taking a blue out of their hand is better. I think it's blue fin, yeah. So now we get a little extra value off the eye. So I think we're bottoming both of these just to try to draw towards our codexes. I think we just want to try to get some max filtering here. And then we're also getting pre-med. We don't, I think, want to Arsenal either of those. So now we get to... Do we want to gold beta hook this? Probably not. We haven't made a gold this turn. Oh no, we have made a gold because off of the port side, right? So we do get the free gold beta hook, and then we send it with bluefin. Yeah, I feel like they're much more likely to have blue in hand than reds. I almost wonder like how many blues you realistically need in Valda, because I feel like the seismics do a lot of work. But yeah, coming in for 14 off of bluefin is probably a pretty good spot to be. And I think we're just hoping that our ponder is a little bit better than the 2 blues we bottomed. But yeah, I think we're cooking here. Did I say doo-doo? I'm sorry. This is a PG stream. Okay, Aftershock. What does this card do? When this attacks, if you control a seismic surge, create a seismic surge. Oh yeah, this is there's a red one of this. There's like a full cycle of this, right? This card seems really good. Just having like a 3-for-8 or like a... I mean, even just as a blue 6 is fine. But like the red one being like a 3-for-8 with like no on hit, but still seems pretty good. Alright, coming in there. Do they have the D-React also? Oh, maybe they're... Pitching a red instead. Interesting. Oh, they don't have the... is there like a blue 3-for-5 D-React or something? Okay, anyways, good thing they don't have that. This is fantastic for us. We take a disable out of their hand. And then we just get a random Arsenal. Redfin's fine Arsenal. Not like ideal, but fine. We just like go again off of it into something here. Alright, just to debilitate is okay. So now Question is, what do we want to do with this hand? So we blue. So how many resources? We have 8 resources in hand. We could theoretically do Redfin. We actually overpower the Redfin off of this, right? And then we can... No, we can't do everything. We could send the Redfin in for 2. Yeah, we do also have Tunic. Isn't there a way that we can do Redfin Pump plus send King Shark? We have to... Oh, I know what the play is. We overpitch the King Shark, right? Yeah, Evo, you can play after this if you want. I'd be down. So I think we're just taking this. It's obviously pretty good. It's like just a functionally 8 value, but I think we can beat 8 value with this hand. Right, so we start with the Redfin, right? So we have to overpitch the King Shark. And then we'll seal Ace to give this go again. We then Redfin. We have 1 floating. So we basically get to hit him with 2 Harpoon on hits, which is really nice. There's a Valda mill list. That seems pretty sick. I think, what is it? Like the grind them down or whatever? Yeah, I feel like mill... I don't know how I feel about mill as a fab archetype. I feel like contract was like an attempt to do that. I feel like contract kind of fell out of favor, at least from like a design perspective. So I'm curious to see what like a Valda mill deck would look like, but that seems kind of interesting. All right, so we hit with the Redfin. That's fantastic. All right, they just have a bunch of blues in hand. That's fine. Yeah, they do be crushing though. All right, so we close the chain. Codex. Get our King Shark. And we have not made a gold this turn, which is fine. I think we're in a pretty good spot this game, surprisingly. I feel like the nice thing, or at least about like mill and fab, right, is like you can't just like not interact with your opponent in mill. Oh, seems like they maybe want to get something else. All right, so you're getting King Shark. So like the nice thing about mill and fab, or like just mill when you compare it to like Magic, right, is like I feel like the mill decks in Magic, you basically just like don't play any creatures, don't interact with your opponent, like just like play a bunch of like functionally non-attacks, right? Like in fab, like at least with a lot of the mill cards we see now like Master Pack Guardian, at least a lot of them seem like they're interaction based mills. So it's like you have to do something, like you have to actually like play a card to get your opponent to mill cards, and you have to like hit with the card too. So I think I don't know, that makes it at least a little bit more interesting than like Magic Mill or whatever. All right, so we're bottoming the Elephant for sure, and I think we're just pulling Tunic and sending the King Shark. We can't Gold Baited Hook, which is unfortunate, but not the end of the world. So I imagine they just give us both the blues that we know are in hand. Looks like they're just going to get a Debilitate here, which they will be able to play, or no, they will not be able to play. I was assuming that they're going to try to like not block and keep a blue so they can send Debilitate, because they know we're going to get a Seismic, right? Control... Oh, Ponder doesn't actually work on Valda, right? Okay, so there actually was no way they could play the Debilitate there. All right, that's really good for us. So Lunch triggers, that's fine. Sunken Treasure, obviously, unfortunate. So we will skip marshaling that. This is fine, though. Ponder was a little bit bad, but sometimes it's like that. So how do we want to start this? Probably just want to start by cracking a little gold. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know how people feel about mill. I think like there's maybe a place for like a mill deck in fab, but I think at least if it's like an interactive mill deck, I think that's a little bit more preferable than at least a non-interactive mill deck. Yeah, it's pretty jarring to see a pirate without compass. Like, I feel like the love in High Seas was primarily devoted to Gravy, which I guess makes sense. Like, he's an illusionist, you kind of got to get him right. or else people will just like be very upset. All right, seismic eruption. That's a pretty good one. Yeah, like I think the mill and fab at least has seemed like a little bit more compelling. Ooh, solid ground. So this is the new Direct. This one's very nice. Oh, the art's pretty cool. It's like a little like terracotta army. It's pretty sick. I've not actually like looked at this card at all, but that's pretty dope. All right, so we get the lace with blood rot. We get the bluefin trigger as well. E-strike pummel. So I assume they're just E-striking. Oh, they can E-strike into debilitate. That's pretty good. So not much we can do there. All right, this hand plays. All right, E-strike. Don't think we care. I think we're just taking the debilitate on the chin again. Yeah, the contract stuff is like kind of unfortunate. Like I understand why they don't um want to like have to worry about designing that around that anymore, but it also does suck for like the old Arachne, right, who just kind of is sitting around doing nothing. All right, debilitate. Yeah, we're kind of just getting like outvalued a little bit here. That's fine. Hopefully this Redfin will be a little bit better. So how much armor do we have to worry about? Not very much now. So I feel like maybe we should start trying to be a little bit more aggressive with our gold-baited hook. Uh, yeah, Mill Valda versus Boost Puffin. That sounds gross. All right, so we're gonna start with the take game. Load the Redfin. Cannon, Skullbone. Do we want to draw a Loan Shark? I feel like we're already sitting on a bunch of gold, right? I feel like we actually don't need this. We just need like anything that's more relevant. Yeah, I honestly think Huntsman Huntsman is just so unfortunate. So this is gonna be coming in for -2 plus it's 9, right? I feel like we're very likely to hit with this, so maybe we should just still get aggressive with the hook. Like 9 overpower, they still might not be able to block. It's definitely a aggressive gold bait hook here, and we are getting punished by the block. So I actually wasn't sure how many like block cards this deck was running, because it seems like it's just been all, for the most part, attack actions, right? But we might be getting punished here if they just give us like a 3 block and then 2, and then we lose our gold baited hook. That's unfortunate. But not the end of the world. Losing hook, obviously a little bit painful. Yeah, maybe that hook was wrong. I'm not sure. So Clash of Vast reveals, so they make another Seismic. Okay. I wasn't sure how many, like, this is the first time I think I played against the new Valda, so I was not sure exactly how many block cards they're even running in this deck. All in all, this is still fine, though. So we basically give away our gold bait hook for nothing, but I think the risk there is maybe worth the reward. All right, what are we doing off of this hand? Yeah, Valda seems quite scary. I think we're gonna try to. The problem with Valda is that if we start fishing off gold, then gets really bad for us. What is our play here? Maybe we're supposed to. Like, we gotta find our 3 Oaks and Codexes at some point still. Are we still supposed to port side here? Marlyn getting a different cannon would also be really cool for certain matchups. I agree with that. I think we're supposed to maybe just gold the tip. That's so weak. Well, we're definitely making a harpoon this turn. I guess the question is, like, what are we doing with the harpoon? Yeah, I feel like in terms of, like, wish list for Marlyn, it's like Quiver could be better, uh, Cannon could be better. To some extent, like, I think her, like, main equipment suite's kind of fine. All right, Leyline of the Old Ones. When artist enters arena, and whenever you deal damage, create a seismic token at the beginning of your end phase. If you control no seismic surge, okay. So this is just like their random legendary power card. 2 to 3 more. I don't even know if she needs like a D-react harpoon. That would be kind of cool. But other than that, I don't even know if she necessarily needs like a huge harpoon. I feel like we're gonna still crack a gold here. I think we're still cracking a gold here. All right, the King Kraken was actually a nice draw. So we can load that, and now we can port side exchange the harpoon. So do that. Draw into a blue is fantastic. So now they correct balance, which is obviously gross, but we still get to potentially send a pretty nice turn here. And then I think we're just loading this, sending this, and then hoping to draw into a 3 oak or a way to load. I mean, we have 2 codexes still in the deck. I think it's pretty reasonable. Yeah, I think that one Redfin Harpoon turn was a little bit greedy, but I also wasn't sure, like, what cards they're even running. Alright, love to see a pummel block. Alright, choke slam, debilitate. It's fine. Alright, we drew our power cards. Now we just need to stay alive is the issue. Them blocking with the pummel is concerning. They're pitching the choke slam. Put them in their place. They discard that card. Discard their hand and draw that many cards. That's pretty good. Okay, so interesting. Tectonic plating first. Oh, and then they're gonna send. Okay, so the Arsenal choke slam. That's pretty good. So we do ideally want to stop the crush here, right? I think we're just giving up the whole hand here. Oh, it's so unfortunate. Or not the whole hand, but like we're giving up our fridge plus searing shot. Is that worth it? I think it is. We could also get mind warped, but then like the chances of us drawing into a bunch of crap are a lot higher. Oh, this feels so painful, but I think it's correct. I think we're just going to tipple into 3 oak and then kind of YOLO. This card's insane, though. It's basically like Crippling Crush, kind of, but better. Ley line's also really strong. So we'll start with the tipple. We need to get a little bit lucky here to... Okay, I wouldn't consider that lucky. I think we need to get a little lucky here to get back in the game. Right, crash and bash. So you still have that choke slam in Arsenal, which we're kind of concerned about. So they could potentially just block us out here, which would be really bad. Okay. King Shark, we're 1 mana off. I think we're digging. Yeah. I think we just need to find something. We could also dig one more. They're gonna have 8 seismic surges, which is also hilarious. I think we need to dig one more, right? If we dig one more, we get to keep an Arsenal. Fade a red. Unfortunate. Maybe we got greedy. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, I guess we're just sending in this Sad King Kraken. Yeah, I feel like the lower blue count of this deck, I'm not accustomed to. I feel like I'm kind of comfortable with like 34-ish blues, but 31 feels so low. At least to me. Maybe we're not supposed to dig the second time, but I think like we need to kind of keep an Arsenal. I don't know. This might just be like an abysmal matchup. I guess they could have blocked anyways. This is fine. So they send the choke slam. You can block 5 on it potentially. Alright, we're gonna need to get a little bit lucky here. So we block 5, and then we're just gonna 3 oak. Oh, it's dominate, right? Oh, so we're actually like dead. No. Maybe not dead. We can do this and then tipple. Yeah, this is pretty bad. So we can tipple into... I don't actually know if there's anything that saves us here. I think this might just be abysmal. Okay, so let's start, I guess, with a tipple. But I think there's like 0%. Like, I don't think there's a set of draws. I mean, how many of our big harpoons have we seen? We've seen I guess like the ideal draw here is we draw two blues and king shark, and then we can at least overpower it. But even then, that's not necessarily winning us the game, right? Oh, whoops. Oh, we're kind of close. So we do this, and I guess just send the king shark in for 6. Alright, maybe we're not completely out of this game, but it feels pretty bad. Alright, so we can just block a little bit this turn, and then arsenal the codex. Maybe that's or maybe like play the codex out. That's probably our path to victory. Alright, Spinal for Dominate's gonna do it though. Yeah, Valda seems real bad for this deck. Let's take a look at their list. I've not actually like looked at a Valda list before, so we have Zealous Beltings. Those are kind of interesting. Specifically for this matchup, like I feel like you don't necessarily need to go wide, but pretty cool. So put them in their place. This card seems messed up. Chokeslam seems messed up. I mean, Chokeslam against this is always pretty good. So yeah, this is pretty solid. 2 pummel or 3 pummels looks like. It seems like a pretty good Valda list. Seismic Eruption seems also quite good, just as like a 0 for 3 that like discounts things. Yeah, all in all, it seems pretty good. I think like I need to look at like what other Mastery Pack Guardian cards there were, but like this seems like a pretty good start. Tectonic Rift I think is a little suspect. Like I don't actually know if you even necessarily need this card, but the Surface Shaking seems pretty good as well. Yeah, seems pretty good. All right, let's see if we can get another one. Maybe not against Valda. I think that matchup is like real cursed. Oh, Iwa, are you still around? Did you want to play? Yeah, if anyone sees Iwa around, I think they maybe want to play a game, so I'll give them a minute and see if they want to jump in. All right. Yeah, the Master Guardian pack set. Let's actually take a look at the cards. I'm kind of curious. Maybe we'll see. On the topic of mill, all right, let's take a look at the Master Pack Guardian stuff. I've not actually like taken a very good look at it. All right, Master Pack Guardian. Let's see. But yeah, you let me know if you wanted to still play a game. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at some of these cards. So Testament, obviously really good. This card also seems quite nuts. What else? Heck Perfect. Oh, it's on the top of spoilers. Is that an easier way to look? Let's see. Okay, I guess it's the same. That's fine. Yeah, Tech Perfect seems pretty good. Destroy the top card. So this is like the mill kind of synergy card. Sent the link in chat. Oh, where did you put it? Let me see. It might be too far up. Where did you send that link? Do you repost that link if you get a chance? But yeah, I'll jump into your game. Whoops. Oh, links might be blocked. If you want to send me a message on Discord, I can jump in. I think you might know my Discord from the Zen channel. All right, let's take a look at the other Valda cards, I guess, in the meantime. Yeah, links might be blocked. I'm not entirely sure. All right, so Test of Iron Grip. This card seems just like nuts for Victor. What else? Aftershock seems really good, just as like a solid 3 for 8. That's also a pretty good one. Let me just make sure my Discord's open. What is Little Bigfoot? If there are 2 more cards that cost 3 and your pitch line is +6. Oh, you send it in okay. Yeah, let me pull this up. Alright. Talshar game. Let's do it. Alright, see what we got. So we got a Mario. Okay. First or second into Mario. Probably still first, right? And then still like Skullbone in general, just going first. Tarpa Trap, really nice. King Shark, pretty nice. I even like King Kraken, I think, against Mario. We just run it like this. We could also just cut these. Maybe we're supposed to cut the King Krakens for tipples, but the tipples get so much worse when you're not on Dominion. Maybe we're supposed to do something like this. I kind of like keeping more like 2-card kind of hands as opposed to like setting up like a huge tipple turn against like Mario and stuff. Let's try like this. Yeah, Victor has been eating quite good lately. I will admit that. This hand's fantastic to start us off though. So start with the lace, and then I guess we're just gonna jam the 3-oak. Seems pretty good. And we can just load random bluefin. Yellowfin's also kind of funny. I almost want to load the yellowfin over the bluefin. Let's do... Yeah, kind of in the mood for a yellowfin. Like, if we get a codex block, I think that's a pretty big deal. And we can just arsenal either the Searing Shot. I think Searing Shot and Arsenal is like fine. I don't think we're gonna get greedy and like Gold Hook this because there's like a semi-real chance that they're able to block most of it. But I kind of like the Yellowfin play just in case we end up sniping a Codex on turn 1. I think that could be a pretty big deal. Pretty decent start though. Alright, we got the Lace and the Yellowfin. Let's see. Sigil's pretty good, so we get left with an Orb Weaver. Okay. All in all, I think that's fine. I think we will just Arsenal the Searing Shot as well, just for a little bit extra damage. Oh, another really fantastic hand. These Marlynn hands, when you draw Runner 3-oak, it's pretty good. Specifically into not Valda, right? Yeah, Valda is really interesting. I don't know. I feel like her hero ability either does nothing or does something. Oh, okay. Bonds of Agony. Scary. So we've already used one 3-oak. So I guess the question is, if they take another 3-oak, are we upset about that? Probably a little bit. I mean, we basically like can't block this, right? Kind of. I guess we should maybe try to block it. Yeah, yeah, Jarl tier I think is maybe accurate. I think we're actually supposed to probably try to block this. Like maybe we're blocking like this. Block with the 3-oak. If they want to push over, take the take game, we're maybe fine with that. They're also fat decking for what it's worth. So maybe block 10 is like actually correct here. No, I think I'm gonna block 8. If they take 3-oak, or if they take 3 takings out of my deck, am I like upset about that? Probably. YOLO, we'll give him the full block. And I guess we'll just turn over, take up the mantle. Stains is pretty good. Okay, I'm kind of fine with this. I think that was probably actually a correct block. We're going to take a little bit of damage off of the plate, but all in all, I think that's fine. So I guess the question here is, are we going to end up sending the Searing Shot? It's a good question. Let's Skullbone first, I guess. Sleep Dart can get bottomed. And then I think we're just sending this in for 3. Two threatening 3 or whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know about... Marlynn's so interesting because, like, her disruption is entirely dependent upon keeping at least, like, a 3 to 4 card hand, right? But when you compare that to, like, Assassin Disruption, like, you can play, like, Persuasive off a 2-card hand. You can play, like, Bonds off a 2-card hand. It feels almost like you're kind of playing, like, just a less powerful Assassin when you're playing Marlynn. Sleep Dart did make it in the main board for me, at least. I'm a pretty big fan of that card. What are we doing with this hand? So we can just send a Redfin if we fish off gold. Alternate plays, we like Tar Pit Trap. Nothing like super exciting off this hand though. But yeah, I think Sleep Dart's good. I at least like it for gravy, just because it's still 1 for 3 arrow. I think it's probably a good spot to use the Gold Bait Hook here. And then I guess the question is, are we also using like sunken treasure? Does that get us anything? Not really. So I guess we're just gonna target trap this and then just try to like draw a load. It seems fine. I imagine we're not running any pumps for surgical. Losing the tar pit a little unfortunate, but all this is basically like a 3 block for the most part. All right, so we'll start with the load, right? Loading in like a Redfin or something, or basically all but guaranteed to play unless we draw like a red off the top here. Loan Shark almost coming close to ruining us, but not quite. So actually, is it maybe even better to just play out Loan Shark plus Redfin unbuffed? That might actually be better, right? Because then we just get to Arsenal the Bluefin. Yeah, Marlyn could also be pretty good against Goliath. I can see that. Let's actually go for the Loan Shark here, as opposed to like just pitching Loan Shark. And now we get to Gold Bait Hook for free. This maybe threatens either card or armor. Kind of like this. Then we also get to keep the Bluefin as an arsenal. I could see, honestly, like maybe just Loan Shark being better if you're running like Mono Dominion. But I'm still pretty partial towards Skullbone. Especially in like a lot of slower matchups like this. I feel like the value is really good. Alright, we got a block. I think that's pretty good. And we get 8 Bluefin in Arsenal. Also good. Already dead, pitching 2 Justinx. That's terrifying. So this is... When this hits 0, banish top card of their deck and defending card. You're contracted to banish opponent's non-attack cards if you do complete... Okay. So you basically don't care about this. This is basically just on hit, nothing. On hit, banish the top card of the deck, I guess. Alright, Searing Shotgun. We were just talking about contract. How it's like kind of, at least was kind of the mill mechanic before all the new like Valda cards got spoiled. So you'd actually play out another Loan Shark here, which is pretty nice. I kind of like that play. I guess maybe we should start with the Skullbone though. We either start with the Skullbone or the Sea Lace. But I think we're just sending 1 arrow this turn, right? So let's start with the Skullbone so we get a little bit more info. That's a terrible arsenal, so we don't want to like pre-med into that. I think we're just gonna send it again. Alright, we're fully Loan Sharked. We got a pre-med. And then we got a nice little Gold Bait Hook here. I would like to probably draw, or sorry, I would like to draw the Kraken, probably bottom the Bluefin. And then we're just sending in Gold Bait Hook. Seems pretty good. Oh yeah, thank you for watching the Zen documentary. We put a lot of work into that. I think it came out really well. We're proud of it. I think we have a lot of ideas for how to improve kind of like the next 2 parts. That was the first part, I think, was like the hardest for us just because a lot of it was me narrating, which I don't know if I'm necessarily like the best narrator. I think I in general like need a couple of takes to like re-record, and like I basically need like a lot of editing work to kind of make a lot of my thoughts make sense, I guess. But I'm happy a lot of people liked it. I think that we did put a lot of good work into it. Yeah, it's a trilogy, so there are going to be 3 parts to it. The next 2 parts are probably going to be a little bit shorter, just because like the first part we wanted to kind of outline a lot of like explaining like what cards do, that kind of thing. And the next part I think is going to be a little bit more streamlined. Oh yeah, the documentary is going to be a trilogy. So that was just the first part. The next part we're going to be basically getting into like the history of Zen and like the various like cards that he ran over like CC. Or like the various like deck lists, like the various like nationals performances, like the band stuff. It's gonna be really exciting. I'm very, very, very excited for it. Like most of the yeah, like the documentary style videos are really rough because you do need like a lot of takes. Just to at least get the quality that we wanted, right? It's hard. Like if you ever narrated something before, it's like it's kind of like a skill in and of itself. I don't know how people do it. Alright, so we're going to start with the Skullbone here, and maybe we can actually cycle this Tar Pit Trap into a buff. Ooh, that's fantastic, right? So now we just get to double buff on King Kraken, and we're chilling. Yep, seems good. This is also why I'm just such a big fan of Skullbone. It's just like informing your draw is such a powerful thing, especially in Ranger. But yeah, the documentary series is going to be a trilogy. It's going to be really cool. We have most of the like guest footage and stuff already recorded. The script's all basically good. The thing that's like the most time-consuming part of it is honestly just me recording the narration and then also Tegan like editing everything together. And Tegan did like a fantastic job on just like including a lot of like the B-roll footage and stuff like that. So we're very excited. Also, I want to see if I can pull up something here. So this is actually like a really cool graphic I was kind of working on. Let me see if I can find it. So it's actually doing like a little bit of programming here. Let me find where I was doing that. So I'd have to go to Google Colab. Where is that? I want to show you like the little graphic we're going to basically use for the next part. So let me go to Collab Notebooks. Is this the one? This might be the one. Okay, so this image, open image, a new tab. So I don't know if you all are going to be able to see this, but this is going to be really cool. So this image is basically a timeline of all of Zen's LL points, which I cannot actually show incredibly well. Hold on a second. Let me get out of that. So yeah, I don't know if you can see, but basically like we have all the LL points Zen's ever like achieved on like a little like grid, which is very difficult to see while you're streaming. But basically like you can kind of see like the basically the different like time periods of Zen's like history, which is really cool. So we're gonna basically be working on that, like making that a little bit like cleaner looking, and then including that basically in the video to like I don't know if you've all seen like the Summoning Salt videos where they do like a speed running timeline of like who beats like a certain time, and then they get added to the graph, and then like how long their time stays. So we're basically gonna be doing that, but for LL points. So like we're basically gonna do like a burn down chart of the LL points, which is pretty sick. Yep. Yep. This was just part one, the Phantom Menace, right? Of the Zen trilogy. It was looking like a nasty King Shark though. Alright, sick blow, a little unfortunate, but fine. Did we gold beta hook this? Should we not have gold beta hooked this? I think that's probably still reasonable to gold beta hook that. That's fine. We lose the gold beta hook, not the end of the world. Yeah, we're taking a lot of inspiration from the Summoning Salt kind of videos. I think those videos are really sweet. All right, double loan shark. We cannot pay, so we'll take a little damage. That's fine. All right, Hunter's Clave. Seems good. We're not doing too bad here. I think the biggest concern here is fatigue, at least from the looks of it. Yeah, the first part of the Zen doc we're very, very proud of. Oh, yeah, maybe restart the turn. Looks like it's maybe like a fatigue aria list. I've never really seen anything like it. It's pretty cool though. So we're gonna make a gold fan. We might actually not even end up like discarding this or anything. We're probably just gonna like load it like this, and then we get to refresh our gold with the tip. Codex draw is unfortunate, but we can still play it if we wanted to. Maybe we're just gonna save that for next turn though. I think just making the gold here is like pretty strong. Unfortunately, we don't get to threaten the hook. I feel like that hook last turn was like pretty safe, but all in all, this seems fine. Unfortunately, we don't get to threaten like another gold off of this, which is a little unfortunate. But I think 12 is still pretty decent here. Yeah, I think fatigue is going to be. So the reason I didn't load with the take aim is because Goldfin Harpoon plus Golden Tip, if it reloads face down. Oh, you're right. We could have totally loaded the Goldfin Harpoon face down, because I forgot that we could flip it up with the Skull Bone, and then we get an extra point of op value. So it actually would have been better. Oh, they are running Cut to the Chase. Okay, this is a very spicy Mario list. We might be in trouble this game. This might be a list we might not be able to beat. That's fine. So what's the play here? I feel like we maybe want to save the king shark for later. So let's start. Let's inform our draw a little bit. Tar Pit Trap, do we want to draw that? Probably not. Probably not. So I'm trying to think of the way that we avoid discarding here. I don't know if there is a way. I think we probably just end up discarding the king shark anyways. The unfortunate part here is that we don't have just a better card here to discard. I guess we could actually Is there anything better we can do? Yeah, I think last turn we definitely could have loaded the take game on the Goldfin and then get the extra op value, and that would have been better. We could Goldfin discard. Get a blue with Codex. It's interesting. I think the way I'm trying to structure this is like, is there a way we can like keep the King Shark in the deck? I don't know if there is a way. So we might just end up needing to discard the King Shark here to the Codex. I don't see like a clean way that doesn't involve like just losing a ton of gold, unfortunately. I think we're still just getting a King Kraken here and then firing it. Like there's an option where we crack a gold there so that we leave like a King Shark as our arsenal. Maybe that's better. We're basically trading in a gold to make our arsenal better off the ponder. That might be better. Yeah, maybe we're not supposed to discard the King Shark. I don't know. Alright, we do get to connect with it at least. So we got Remembrance, Coercive, Leave No, and Fate Foreseen. Yep, so all cards we cannot take. Yeah, I think we bottom the yellow card. So maybe the world where there's a world where we do that, and then we keep the King Kraken in the deck. It's awkward. This list is not running Conqueror. Yeah, I think that might have been a better play, especially if we're trying to play towards like fatigue. So they have coercive, so they give us go again. But I think we just like don't care about Port Side Exchange and Arsenal, right? They also pump this to like 7 if they want to with Arachne. But yeah, this list seems like pretty good against Marlynn. Alright, so we have surgical plus coercive in hand, and then we have. What was the other card in hand? It was like a Faith Foreseen. So we can like block 3 here. We take aim, load the Codex, pitch 3 Oak. Oh, but we can still get funnel webbed is the issue. Yeah. So the issue here is I think we're getting hit by Codex regardless, so we should just let it happen because they can also just pump this +3 on this, right? Oh wait, they need to discard an assassin attack. Does that matter? So what is the other card in hand? It's coercive plus this. So they discard coercive, they pump this to 6, and then they have Fate Foreseen Arsenal. So I guess we just like cannot block this. That's at least I think what I'm getting at. So we get to take our hand because we know that this card's coercive and we know that this card is Fate. So this could have come in for 6 basically. Yeah, this deck seems pretty good against Marlynn. Not gonna lie. The contract Mario is quite interesting. Because you do get to run cards like Coercive. You lose out on a lot of like the aggro stuff. I think this steal makes sense. So I guess the question is, what are we doing with this hand? Are we gonna like full on YOLO? Full on YOLO might be correct. we take game. We could also not YOLO and just use a gold to make a harpoon and then load it. Gold to tip it, pull tunic 3 oak. Kind of like that play, honestly. Because that involves, like, we're not YOLOing into just a random arrow. It's kind of weak, but it's still pretty fine. So we load the gold fin, we then skullbone. Codex is a good draw for at least next turn. So we just need to draw, like, any resource card and we're fine here. And then we just, like, Arsenal Codex for next turn. So now we gold the tip, refreshing our gold, pull tunic. We know there's a Fate in Arsenal, but it's not the end of the world. Alright, so this is perfect. We drew at least one resource card plus King Shark, which is fine. So that goes back in the deck, and then we just send in the gold fin for a bunch. But yeah, this deck's going to be hard to beat. I think that they got a pretty good plan in terms of just, like, the fatigue plan. The contract cards are quite good, plus the D-React package as well. It's kind of almost reminiscent of, like, old Arachne. I was just running more contract cards and then just, like, kind of playing, like, a more mid-rangey game. Kind of like it. Alright, seems like another Oasis potentially in hand. Yep, seems pretty good. Full value on Oasis. Fortunately, we do get to catch him on a 2-card hand, though. We have not seen a CNC in the bin yet. So this could be actually not the end of the world for us. Sigil's pretty good. I think we're actually fine here. Kind of. So do we start with the port side? How do we want to start this? I guess we always start with Skullbone, right? Always start with Skullbone. Sleep Dart, I think, is not the draw we're looking for. And I think we are maybe just port... Are we port-siding this? Maybe. It's awkward, though. So I think maybe we just want to play it to get a little bit of value. If we whiff, how bad is that? It's pretty bad. Could also just... I think, actually, the best play here is just discard the Goldfin with Codex, right? Like, that's probably got to be the play, and then we just keep the King Kraken for next turn. And then we play out our King Shark this turn. So I think this is fine. So I think we're just discarding a Goldfin just so that we can make our arsenal better, because we don't necessarily want to rely on the Ponder, I think. So I think we're going to do that. Obviously, like, we're losing the Ponder value, but I think keeping a King Kraken in the deck is pretty good, especially against a deck that looks like it's going to go more towards fatigue. I think it's an interesting trade-off. Like, we're basically trading a gold just for fatigue value, which on paper is pretty bad. I think it makes sense, though. Again, I'm not, like, the biggest fan of Loan Shark, but it's been fine. Arguably, it's been pretty good today. Like, I think that we haven't won any games with the Loan Shark deck, which is, I think, maybe a pilot issue more than anything. But all in all, it's, like, actually felt kind of okay. I do kind of miss Big Game Trophy Shot, though. If I'm being honest, I'm just kind of partial to that card. All right, lots of D-Rex. It's still fantastic for us, though. So we now Skullbone. C4 Salvage. Can probably afford to get bottomed. We're just sending in 13 every turn. It's kind of okay with me. Like, Marlynn does have a lot of good fatigue value in the late game, just because, like, you're basically getting functionally a card every turn off the Hammerhead. It's just, like, the challenge is, like, keeping enough cards, like, through disruption for this to matter. Alright, how many D-Reacts? So we have 2 more Sync Blows to worry about, plus the potential Shelters also in the deck. Yikes. Alright, so we have 3 more Shelters. Pretty nasty. Inertia Trap also quite bad. Yeah, I think if you wanted to make a deck to beat Marlynn, this is probably it. Just, like, every D-React in the game, plus Oasis. It's still fine though. Hand is a little awkward. So they were starting by pitching the Bolton shot, right? Yeah, unfortunately we don't have Conqueror in this deck. That'd also be pretty good for fatigue value, I feel like. So I think we're just arsenaling Sleep Dart for next turn. Not very exciting. All right, so yeah, this is basically just like every D-Rack in the game. I don't think there's actually like a real way you can beat this just because of like how bad Overpower is, right? Take up Mantle plus CNC, that's also really good. Yep. Rough stuff. So we can block this if we want to, which we probably should, right? Might as well. There's nothing they can really have. So we're basically at the point where we need to run them out of D-Reacts, which that might be a challenge. I guess we'll just turn over random card. So I think we actually maybe want to go Sleep Dart into like a Goldfin here just to like max our damage out. So we start with the Sea Lace, right? Start with the Sea Lace, then we do Sleep Dart into off of I load Goldfin. It's not even good. That might not even be good. I guess we're doing it anyways. So bottom. I think we're out of juice at this point though, right? I think we're basically our only buff at this point is just Hammerhead. So yeah, I think we might very closely be approaching a scenario where we're kind of out of the game. So now we can make a Goldfin Harpoon, send it. But we have to load it. Oh, we could have actually like quivered. Did that change anything? I don't think so. I think I still like this play. Oh shit, hold on. Sorry. Whoops. Sorry, I meant to make a Goldfin first and then load. That's my bad. So we load now. So now we load like this. All right, a little bit of cheating on my end. My bad. So we load in the Goldfin, and then we're sending it. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Technically should not have seen this card, but don't think it's going to make much difference here. Yep, Inertia Trap. It's actually kind of fine. I didn't really want to arsenal this anyways. So now we just have to keep an arsenal and hope that's good enough, but yeah, I think that we're not winning this. So I guess we can just like YOLO off Quiver, but I don't think this really matters. Maybe just hit a random 0 cost. Sure. I think we're rapidly approaching the point where we cannot even like send an arrow every turn. It's a pretty cool build. I do like this build. I think there's like actually like a 0% chance that this like basically every card in their deck can block our cards. So like for a deck that has like evasion, right? Like that makes it I think a little bit more challenging to do anything. Like I think if you're to try to build a deck for a Marlyn meta, this is probably it, right? But it's pretty cool. Like you're probably pretty good into Slippy, right? So you have Eradicate. So I think in this scenario, Yeah, it does make Marlin look like Crucible Azalea. That's a pretty good point. They were just giving up the Skullbone here. If they have a pump, they have a pump, and then we lose like half our deck. I guess we get to send a Yellowfin here, which may or may not be good if they have any number of codex. We actually have we seen a codex? We might not have seen a codex yet. That's kind of interesting. Is this a no codex Arachne? That'd be pretty sweet. But yeah, we can send 8 every turn, but even then, we're still just like not outputting enough damage for this to be like actually worthwhile, I think. How many buffs do we have left? We have one. Oh no, we got a codex banished at some point. When did this codex get banished? I might have missed that. These inertia traps are also doing a ton of work. It basically is like time walk, right? Because we don't have a way to load anymore. That is pretty rough. I think at this point we just need a YOLO off Quiver and hope we can send something. Oh, Coercive, yeah. Oh, that's what it was banished from? That makes sense. I didn't even see them play a Coercive. Did they play a Coercive? I thought they blocked with it. Maybe I'm ignoring something. I'm taking a lot of dagger damage here, but I'm kind of okay with this a little bit. If this is all just like not disruptive. Okay. Seems pretty good. So we have to YOLO, and then we probably still die anyways. Alright, YOLO worked. Step 1 accomplished. But yeah, this does feel like just like pre-Crucible Azalea or Crucible Azalea. We have to almost be out of Daria though, right? Oh no, we still have one more sync, I think. Oh boy. Rough stuff. At least we can like block 6 and 10. It's not bad. Oh, we are running Codex. Okay. Maybe we're just pitch decking the Codexes and I wasn't paying attention. I feel like I have not seen a ton of the Codexes. Alright, so there's one. What are we getting here? Probably Mark the Black Widow? I do imagine. Oh, Persuasive. Persuasive is interesting. So I guess we now just give 5 on this, and then we lose our Sea Lace, but all in all, not actually that bad. Hold on to a Bolden Shot for Arsenal, I guess. Can turn over Eradicate, just in case. So I think actually maybe we want to Arsenal C4 salvage, right? Because I think we still have another King Shark somewhere. Do we use all our King Sharks? Where's our King Sharks? Wait, I think I have one more King Shark left, so we should actually Arsenal this over Bolton Shot, I think. We'll see if we can connect, though. I think the biggest problem this game is we used Hook too aggressively on that King Kraken for 16, and then we forgot that they were the, I don't think we saw at that point that they were the all-D React deck. Alright, Mark the Black Widow. Are we supposed to just get hit by this? Maybe. I don't know. We can make a gold, load, send a Goldfin. Does that help us? Not really. Yeah, there's like no actions either, so we basically like don't get to make any gold anyways. So yeah, it's a pretty bad matchup. I would say we're probably just dead at this point. I guess we should try. Yeah, overpower. Like this is the problem. Like the fundamental Marlin problem. Why you probably shouldn't play this hero is that like you just lose against all of your reacts, which is rough. So I guess we'll get rid of the tar pit and just hold on to like the arrows. I don't know. I think we've like thoroughly lost this game though. So I guess we start with the seafloor. Turn over Gets a codex so they can't remembrance it back. And then we make a Goldfin, load it. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Load that in. Send this. I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Yeah, I think we're thoroughly at the point where our goose is cooked here. Codex, pretty good. So you get back CNC. Get back up bonds. Okay, I think we have like thoroughly lost this game. So I guess we send. I guess they can just take what they want, right? Like, there's no way we can block this, and there's also no way we can win if we do block this. So I guess we should just block with the King Shark, and then maybe just take a blue, and then we send a red fin. But we're not winning this game anyways. Oh, is this the double just Nick pitch stack? Oh, nasty. All right, yeah, we've thoroughly lost. That's fine. So I don't think there actually was a correct block. Just a classic Bonds of Agony. There's no correct block. Pretty good. Never play that deck against me again. That was terrible. But like, okay, so we actually got through all the reacts, but it just like did not matter, right? Like, GG's. Yeah, I don't think there's any way we were actually like winning that game. Like there's actually like I don't think any way that Marlyn beats the LD react deck. It's pretty cool. Like that is the cool mill deck. It's pretty real, I think too. Like you are probably pretty favored into Slippy question mark. I don't know if you've done any testing. But like this deck seems like it probably brutalizes Slippy really bad. And then also I'm trying to think what else. Probably like is your Gravy matchup any good? I'm not entirely sure. Gravy might be a little bit of a struggle for this deck. I don't know. But you'll have to tell me is like what is this deck kind of get into or like targeting? Oh, Regicide would be funny for Gravy. I agree. Yeah, Fatigue is just so rough. Need to draw natural bonds early. That makes sense for Gravy. Yep, that was pretty good though. I like the deck. I think that deck just like stomps Marlyn pretty hard. Ooh, let's try to play against a Gravy. I think that'll be fun. So first or second in Gravy? We always want to go first, I think. And then do we want to? We probably want cross up going for. Like I think the ideal scenario for Gravy is you play Skullbone going first, and then you just like load like an arrow in Arsenal. So we definitely want the drops. Let's try out the Barbarages too. This is from Jacob Kissel's list. So I've historically not been huge on that card, but we'll try it out. The golden tipples I think are still worth it, and I think we want the King Krakens and not the King Sharks. And then what are we trimming on? Like maybe like Lone Shark? I don't know if this is the correct way to board. We can try like this though. Alright, so now maybe the Lone Shark can be good. Yeah. Okay. So what are we doing to start this off? I feel like we're just arsenaling passing. Could also filter the Codex. Kind of want to like get a little bit of filtering off here. Like maybe filter Remed. I honestly feel like I want to filter like all three of these cards. Problem is the load is going to be awkward. So maybe we're not supposed to filter. Hold on. Maybe we're not supposed to filter the red fin. So awkward. Maybe we Codex. No, Codex doesn't do anything. I guess we can like quiver. Yeah, like quiver load is like best case scenario. So awkward. I think we're doing the original play of just doing this. And then just arsenaling the drop and hopefully find a way to load. Feels pretty bad. Definitely a bit awkward to see the Codex that early. Oof. Yeah, his hand's rough. This is a do-nothing hand. So maybe we're supposed to like arsenal the blue. feel like I've already punted this game. So we arsenal the blue, or we arsenal like the red fin, and then we like pitch. Maybe we're just supposed to pass. Is that correct? I'm definitely getting punished here. This is kind of my fault though. I guess we can maybe quiver into something too. I feel like there are a lot of better plays than what I did. Yeah, I feel like arsenaling the arrow is probably correct. And then we arsenal, or like pitch to hammerhead or something. I don't know. Yeah, that turn kind of like hurt my brain. All right, let's see if we can maybe quiver into something off the top though. I think that's how we save this hand. But I think we shouldn't have put ourselves in this position to begin with, right? All right, so red fin's actually a good draw. So now we can drop and then play that off quiver. Still kind of works out, but I think I definitely punted that a bit. Small punts, but that's fine. All right, so looks like we're just getting a little bit of prevention on. Sure. So I guess the question is, do we think we're hitting off of this or not? I feel like we are hitting off of this almost assuredly. So maybe the gold baited hook does make sense. There is like maybe a world where we shouldn't give the gold baited hook though. I think we're still... God, it's so awkward. We're still just sending it. Maybe I feel like the gold baited hook is greedy because if they just end up giving us 3 block, then like giving us like 12 block plus like gold baited hook, then that's pretty bad. Maybe we're supposed to go for the gold baited hook though. I feel like I've like already punted starting going turn 1 though. I think this is still fine. Like we're sending 13. We lost our quiver. Not the end of the world. I feel like there's maybe an argument that we should have just gone for the gold baited hook, but I feel like there's ways we get punished for doing that. I don't know. Getting a lot of value here though, for what it's worth. All right, rigor mortis revealed from hand is fine. All in all, I'd say pretty good. And we get to arsenal a drill shot, which could be okay. Ooh, the bar barrage plus 3 oak is a pretty sweet combo. I feel like we might just want to pump it really high though, instead of just like going for multiple kills with this or something. Depends what they play, I guess. I also feel like another problem I have with the Ranger design in the set is I feel like this card should be differently statted. I feel like this should be like a 0 for 4. I don't even think that card would be that unfair. Just like a 0 for 4 that like fits your cost curve a little bit better than a 1 for 5. Like this card I feel like should probably just be a 0 for 4. I don't even think it would be that strong. It'd be pretty good, but like the way this card is like currently statted, it just like does not fit the curve at all unless it's like off tunic. I don't know. I've never been like a huge fan of this card. I kind of just prefer running like go against horses like Tipple, Drill Shot, Sleep Dart, etc. Alright, so have they made a gold this turn? Yes, they made it off the portside exchange. Or no. Did they make a gold off portside? I think they did, right? Yeah, I think they did. So they made a gold off portside. So this is not getting rid of the gold baited hook if we block. So they were just fine with this. I think we got a pretty good turn lined up for us here. I also like seeing a Chumman pitch. I think that's also a pretty big deal for us. I think this game's going actually pretty well for us now. Like, they didn't play out Chum. They just have Sawbones plus Rigor Mortis, and then we're going to be able to kill Rigor here, potentially. So start with the Sea Lace, and then we're going to send it with the Drill Shot. Probably end up loading the Bar Barrage with the Drop the Anchor on it. So I think we're going to start by killing Rigor. Then we might be bar barraging to just finish off the Sawbones here. Get a little bit extra value. We're going to be tapping them down anyways, so like maybe that's not even that bad. Or maybe it's not even that good, but I think it's still fine. I guess it definitely depends on like what we're drawing off 3 oak. So we draw, we load off the barbed. We can find a codex, it's fine. So yeah, we can do everything here. We can pump. And I guess we're gonna like overkill the crap out of this. So I guess we bottom. Do we want to bottom the blue? I feel like codex isn't even that good right now. I guess it's like fine. We get to buy back like a barb barrage potentially. But even then, that's like pretty cost prohibitive. I feel like we're probably just supposed to hold on to the blue maybe. Then we can send in the barb barrage. Gold bait hook doesn't do anything. Yeah, this is fine. So we send it out gravy. We will pay 3 to choose Sawbones as additional target. Oh, it like automatically chooses the target. That's pretty cool. I've not played against this card or played with this card in a while. I thought you had to like manually choose the card the last time. Pretty sick. All right, CNC block I do appreciate. All in all, I'd say this is actually like kind of fine for us. I feel like we're racing pretty well. We've got codex lined up. Could be going worse. I think we had a couple opportunities to really punt the crap out of this game. Let's see if we can get one win here. I think this deck is maybe better than going 0-3. Alright, so we tap them so they can't discard an ally next turn, which is fantastic. They don't have any allies in the bin, which is also really good. And then we just have the codex lined up. I'd say we're in a pretty good spot here. Oh, if we can double buff go into codex, that's like the dream, right? This is like the perfect codex hand. Unfortunately, like we don't have like a 2-cost harpoon in the bin. That would make this a little bit better. But all in all, I'd say we're actually in like pretty good shape here. They also need to figure out a way to discard an ally this turn, which is maybe not trivial since they don't have their hero ability, but they do have Call to the Grave, which is going to be pretty good. Call to the Grave is interesting though, because if we get... Oh, they're not even getting Chum. Huh. Why are we getting Rigor Mortis over Chum? Interesting. Oh, I guess that kind of makes sense off of Conqueror. Okay. So that's bad. Conqueror is pretty rough. We can actually just Barb Barrage if we want to just send like a 0 cost here. That might be worth it. We'd have to lose our Sea Lace. But we'd still be getting a pretty decent amount of value there. Could also let this go, but then we don't have a way to load. So I think the play here is we're supposed to blockade and then just like send a weak codex at them next turn. Unfortunate, but I think this still makes sense from a value perspective. Like we just need to make sure that we're not getting our arsenal blown up. So we're playing out the Rigor and then pitching the other card to swing the Rigor maybe, or maybe they just want arsenal. All right, they're pitching the other card to swing the Rigor. This actually works out pretty well for us. Okay, I think this is overall fine. They get to get a gold, but we don't really care. Unfortunately, with our codex, we're going to be buying them back either a CNC or a Conqueror, which is pretty rough. But all in all, still fine. So Sleep Dart, we probably want to just bottom because we don't want to ponder into it. And then we're just going to double load. And I guess the question is, are we getting our 1-for-5 off Tunic, or are we going to just get a 0 cost here? I feel like the 1-for-5 is just better stats, right? Better stats. So we should probably just go for that anyways. I would have ideally liked to have held the hand if they didn't present disruption. Like, that hand would have been perfect if there was no disruption this turn, but you can't always keep every card in your hand. Right, cannot pay for initial targets. And this is why I kind of like don't like Barb Barrage just as a card. Like, it's obviously really strong if you get it with 3 oak. But if you don't get it with 3 oak, it's like pretty bad. I don't know. I feel like that, like, when this card lines up, it's really good. When this card doesn't line up, it's like pretty whatever. But here it's like fine, I guess. So they bought back We bought back a CNC, right? So we don't want to load the take game. We want to probably just load the Bolden Shot, and then maybe there's a world where we just say, like, you can have the Bolden Shot if they play the CNC out here. I think that makes more sense than trying to load it and, like, protect the take game or whatever. But this hand's fantastic. We get a 3-oak and a take game. Hopefully we can YOLO into an arrow. If we don't YOLO into an arrow, we're probably screwed. I feel like the chances of hitting an arrow are pretty high. Got Oyston they're going to play. So maybe they're going to play Oyston, play CNC. That's at least the line I see. Don't think we're blocking the CNC. I think we're just letting our Bolden Shot go. Although Bolden Shot, like, if we are able to keep it here, it's pretty nasty because we can, like, reload the 3-oak, assuming it hits, and then we have, like, a double 3-oak turn. That could be fun. But I assume they're just going to play out the CNC here. So give it go again. That's fine. So we're just letting this go, I think. Oh, we actually have a 6. We can still double 3-oak off this hand, right? We can 3-oak, or we can take game, load a 3-oak, play the 3-oak from hand, and then 3-oak afterwards, and then get a little bit more value. They want to hook this. Oh, they want to play. Okay, they want to play Rigor Mortis. That's also fine. So I think in this spot. So the only problem with doing that is that we'd have to use both 3-oaks, which maybe we don't want to do. But I think this is still good. So we pass here. I think we still should go for double 3-oak just as good practice, but it's not necessarily the best thing in the world. So we're starting with the take game for sure. So we take game, load a 3-oak, and then we can Skullbone to inform our draw. So this actually might inform us whether or not we need to keep the other 3-oak. So I think we actually don't play the other 3-oak now. So now we play the 3-oak from Arsenal, keep the Kraken on top, and then we play the 3-oak. And then we're pretty likely to actually draw into some resources to pay for our cards here. All right, we do. That's fantastic. We draw into King Kraken. We can then just pitch Codex. I guess the question is, would we rather have a Codex or would we rather have a 3-oak? I feel like I'd rather have a 3-oak most of the time. But Codex is quite good. Maybe Codex is better, actually. Maybe we're supposed to pitch the 3-oak here. I kind of like keeping the Codex more. Like, obviously, the Codex has the downside of buying them back, like CNC and stuff, but I think overall it's pretty reasonable. I think we are going to go for the gold baited hook as well. 13 overpower is pretty good. The Sunken Treasure turning over probably just a Codex or something. Seems fine. I think we're in pretty good shape here. I think, so I've actually had this debate about whether or not you're supposed to run King Kraken or King Shark into Gravy. I think you're supposed to run King Kraken because a lot of their kind of like quote unquote starters like Avasti, Portside Exchange are non-attacks. So, and you also have the ability of like discarding an ally from hand, which is maybe not ideal, but a lot of time if they're running like Tipple or whatever, like see in this case, like their entire hand was like non-attacks, right? I think it's better. I think we're taking the chart here, just it's more powerful. But anyways, I think, yes, you should probably run King Kraken into Gravy over King Shark, just because you have a higher chance of hitting cards, and also hitting allies is not even that bad, is basically like my 2 cents about it. Alright, so tip in the Barkeep, but they don't have the resources to attack with their cards, and now we have just a fantastic hand lined up for us next turn. So all in all, I'd say pretty good King Kraken there. And that's like the main purpose of King Kraken, I think, is you just want to take a non-attack starter out of the hand as opposed to anything. This is like the ideal Marlynn hand, right? You have 2 buffs, you have 6 resources in the hand, and you have a Codex and Arsenal, like absolutely perfect hand. We also get the Skullbone cross-art value, like I'd say overall fantastic. Bottoming the Bolden Shots, and then we just get to double buff send it. But yeah, pretty good. How long? Okay. This might be our last game for today. But yeah, let's end it on a good note. So we now Codex. Get back our King Kraken. It should just be lethal, assuming that they don't have like a D-React or something in hand. But yeah, absolutely. This is like the reason you play Marlin is because you get to send a King Kraken in for 16. Pretty good. Pretty good against decks that can't run every D react. Like Gravy. I'd say Gravy's a pretty good example of that. So, do they have an arsenal? Did they get back something? I can't remember. They choose a conqueror. Okay, that's a-okay for us, I think. So I think this is lethal unless they have something here. Yep, seems like the writing's on the wall there. Yeah, pretty good stream. I think so. Like we definitely saw in some of our games today that. So I feel like Loan Shark was actually. I think it's better than it looks, right? Like I think I probably didn't do it a lot of justice today, but like the times we played it, this card was like very very solid. I think that based on like a lot of what I'm hearing from loan shark enjoyers, that they really like just having two of as opposed to three of, which I think makes sense. Like I think it's a very powerful card, but maybe not great in like bigger doses. But I think it makes a lot of sense with a lot more like red line focus, like playing Lace with Blood Rot in place of like big game trophy shot. I think makes a lot of sense just because like big game trophy shot can be clunky on some hands. But yeah, all in all, I'd say this is like a pretty solid list. So this is a kind of like a copy of Jacob Kissel's list. He's been playing a lot of Loan Sharks. I've not been partial towards Loan Shark, but I kind of see at least the rationale for running it. Like it's a zero cost. It fits your curve really well. You just get a bunch of extra value. I think it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, all in all, I'd say this is like a pretty good start. I think there's some cards that I don't like fully like in this kind of like style list. Like I don't really think Remorseless is all that good. Like you can sometimes like be good into like the react heavy decks. Like maybe we're supposed to play that into Mario. Definitely a possibility. Maybe board this into Mario and like fat deck. Potentially. But the bar barrage seemed like okay. It's at least like fine. It was just a one cost that we could get back. I don't know. But yeah, all in all, I'd say it's a pretty good list. Again, my normal Marlin list, if you take a look, is let's do drop the Inca. So yeah, my Marlin list is normally kind of like this, where I kind of do like Golden Tips, like the King Shark, King Kraken, Big Game Trophy Shot. I do still like Conqueror in these lists, but I can also kind of see cutting it just because it doesn't fit the cost curve very well. And what else? Yeah, I'd say like this is like I'm still a list I'm like pretty comfortable with. But I could definitely see like changing out the big game trophy shots for like more lace and stuff. But yeah, anyways, this was let's go back to the other list. This was huh. All right. Yeah, Loan Shark list. All right, so this is yeah the Loan Shark list, which I roughly based off Jacob Kissel's list. Yeah, I think this list is pretty solid though. Like the Loan Sharks and the Lace Blood Rots both seem really good today. Yeah, but Marlin struggles some days. I feel like some days if you just like don't get to hit with like your harpoons, you're pretty sad. All right, but thank you all for joining. I think we're gonna probably wrap it up there. But yeah, all in all, I'd say Marlin's a lot of fun. Give her a shot. Go player. But yeah, I will see y'all around. So thank you all for watching. Oh, is BB mean? Oh, I'm not sure. All right. Anyways, see ya. All right, stop the stream.